4.
Hey everyone, what is going on? Welcome to today's live stream here on Tonepedia. My name is Emmanuel, and that's my colleague Lee. I'm fine. So today, what we're going to do is talk about single cut guitars and especially LP style guitars. So what I have here in my hands is the mother of that type of guitar, the Gibson Les Paul, the traditional one. And then to my left, I have a couple of models from B&G, which is a very cool custom shop and also like production model shop from Israel. So Lee, do you like LP style guitars?
I do, man. I do. I've just realised my headphones are indoors because I've been laid up, haven't I?
Oh no, but I think you can handle it without headphones.
Yeah, people might hear your vocals twice though. I'll have to ride it. Doesn't matter. We can get through this. We can do this. So, yes. Do I like Les Paul style guitars, single cut guitars? Yeah, I do. I'll show you mine. This is my beauty, which people who follow us on Facebook and YouTube and stuff will know. This is my beautiful limited edition Les Paul. It's a custom, but it's also a standard. It's like a standard with custom upgrades. It basically means it doesn't have binding on the back, but it's got like 7-ply binding on the front and ebony fretboard and that sort of thing. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. What have you got there?
I have, as I said, Les Paul standard traditional. I think it's the traditional series that when did it came out? Like a couple of years. It's not that old. I think it's not as old as yours. But I mean, what is that finish called? I mean, that is basically what everyone has in mind if he thinks about Les Paul, isn't it?
Yeah, that's like the Slash one. Sorry, didn't tell me audio one. That's like the Slash one. That's that is, I can't remember what they call it. Do they call it Orange Burst?
Something like that, right? Some burst kind of thing, and it's just beautiful. It's just so cool to hold an instrument like this in your hands when you're not used to it. So that is what I got here right now. And then, as I said, to my left, I have two different models from B&Gs, one with humbuckers and one loaded with P90 pickups, so that we just have some alternatives here to talk about today as well. So, like a little bit about my history with Les Pauls. When I started out playing guitar, I was a die-hard fan of Guns N' Roses, and basically Slash was my all-time favorite guitar player. And still love them today, but then I got into different genres of music. But I got something here that is very cool that I just brought out just for today's live stream. So, do you know that?
Yes, I love that album.
I got like all of the Slash albums, and I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's actually signed by the whole band.
Oh, really?
Yes. That was way back in 2013 or something, when I was like still going to school, and they had a gig here in Bremen. Bremen is like the city where I live and where Tonepedia is based in, and I was waiting like till 4 a.m. or something just to get Slash to sign the album, and there were a couple of people, like 50 people or so left, who wanted to get stuff signed. So what we did is we were waiting in a row, and then the security guys came out, and everyone was allowed to go into the backstage and then get one thing signed. So I was very nervous. I was like, don't know. I was a young dude, and my English was even worse than what I got today. I went in and I was like, Slash, you're my favorite guitar player. And then what he did is he looked at me and he said, and you are mine. And that was like, I could have died that moment, because everything I wanted to achieve in life, I achieved that day. Well, and I also got the set list from the original gig. So that is kind of how I got in touch with Les Paul guitars very, very early. And then I played them for a couple of years, and then I got into more progressive music. So my main guitars nowadays are Ibanez guitars, but that's just a piece of history I'm holding in my hands, and that's what makes me happy right now. How are you connected to Les Pauls?
But yeah, they are very, very special. I know some people are very much like single coil people, but and I get that, because single coils do something very different. But there is something so rock and roll about you basically sticking a Les Paul into a Marshall amp and a 4x12 and just hitting it as hard as you can.
Yeah, know what you mean, man. So, just by the way, let me mention that if you guys are curious, how this guitar or some of these guitars would sound with a specific setting or a specific amplifier or stuff like that, you should definitely check out www.tonepedia.com. And I'm sure Lee will also post the link after the live stream to the comment section, where you can basically interactively compare this guitar to these guitars and to many different guitars. And so, yeah, just wanted to mention that. So something I really feel like when playing Les Paul is Les Paul doesn't have a genre. You know what I mean?
Yes and no. You wouldn't find someone playing classical music on it, but I know what you mean. It does span. Well, you might find people playing classical music on it, because I'm thinking of Steve Stevens gets a little bit classical from time to time, doesn't he? And he played a Les Paul for some time. Randy Rhoads played a Les Paul for a little while.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does. They are so versatile. That's the big thing about a Les Paul, or a Les Paul style guitar, is you've got 2 volumes, 2 tones, 3-way switch. There are so many tones in there, so many tones. It was such a versatile guitar.
I mean, basically, I don't know if I'm wrong here, but please tell me if I'm wrong. But any guitar that has humbuckers in it is somehow connected to a Les Paul sound-wise, isn't it? That is the origin where everything came from. That thick wall of sound type of feel, isn't it?
I think I can't remember. I do know a little bit of the history about the humbucker, but I can't remember it specifically. I believe, because when the first Les Pauls came out, they had P90s in them.
Yeah. No, I'm sure that there was humbuckers before.
But I don't think there were.
Wasn't it?
I don't think there were. No.
What I want to say is it's same thing with Eddie Van Halen and tapping. Maybe he was not the first one who invented it, but he was the one who made it big. And if you think about tapping, what comes in your mind is Van Halen, immediately. And if I think about thick sounds and humbucker sounds, then boom, Les Paul immediately.
The thing about Les Paul is, there was only one other single cut guitar, solid body single cut guitar before that, and that was the Telly. You've got that I know of, but with this, it was a completely different thing. The Fender's ideas were, let's make a guitar that people can just swap the bits out of, and they can make it modular, and they can put the bits and pieces in together as and when they want. Les Paul's idea was, let's make an instrument that they don't need to do that on. And arguably he did. Although the Les Pauls that he came out with were pretty far from what you've got there, to be fair.
Yeah. So, signal chain we're having today is, let me just quickly go through that, is the Black Spirit 200 from Hughes Academy that you can see behind me. What I set up is a pretty neutral sounding clean channel. Then I have a crunch, like medium gain channel. Then I have, the lead channel, which is kind of a hard-rodded JCM 800 feel. So we will take you through a couple of sounds during this live stream, and I suggest that we start with that right now. So Lee, what is the first thing you would play on a Les Paul?
First thing I would play on a Les Paul is a G chord.
Is a G chord.
It's the first thing I play on any guitar. You do me a favour. I'm sure I've got another pair of small headphones around here. You play away for a few minutes and let me see if I can find them.
Well, I think I can handle that. Okay.
Cool.
I usually don't play that type of rock stuff. I'm basically a full-on metal dude, but that guitar sounds it just feels so right playing that kind of stuff with this type of guitar. And what I can say, like comparing these guitars to like the guitars that I play, which mostly have like active pickups, like Fishman pickups and EMG pickups, and I totally love them, and it's very good for the type of music I'm playing with like down-tuned riffs and fast stuff. But compared to that, this is just a very thick sound that has a very thick type of mid-focused sound, and I really love that for that medium gain stuff. So I think that Lee is back.
I am. My darling wife's going to run my headphones in, thankfully. So you may hear me pop off to go and get them. I'm so sorry about that. Right, okay, so we were talking about classic songs, classic bands, classic artists that had used single cut solid bodies. And who do you reckon would be the iconic Les Paul player or single cut solid body player?
Let me say it with a riff.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and no. But I think it's fair to say that Slash is right now probably the most famous guitar player that is alive.
Possibly.
I mean,
thank you.
Such an iconic, like it's not only like Guns N' Roses and his playing on its own, but it's like the whole personality. Everyone knows the guitar player with the hat. That's what when I was in school and when I was talking about rock music to people that weren't into rock music, no one knew Guns N' Roses. From my generation, but everyone knew the guitar player with the hat. So that's for me the most iconic thing when I think about the most iconic artist when I think about Les Paul.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to say. But I think it's a generation thing as well. If I think about Les Paul, I'm thinking we're looking at Jimmy Page. It's got to be Jimmy Page. Yeah, it's got to be. I've got to say hello to Ignazio over at Jensen. Hey, dude. How you doing? Yeah, Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin, one of my all-time favourite bands by a long, long way. They're just so good, and you can't really take Jimmy Page away from the Les Paul. I know that some of the stuff, especially the earlier stuff, was done on the Telecaster. They've launched that whole range of Telecasters with the Dragon on and these sort of things that cost like £1,001,000 and all that sort of thing. But yeah, mate, yeah, there wouldn't have been Slash without Jimmy Page. And then what about Joe? You know, what about Joe Perry? What a guitar player! What an awesome guitar player! Yeah.
Like literally, these guys you're mentioning, especially like Jimmy Page, these were for someone like me who's in his mid-20s and who started playing guitars like, how long am I playing guitars? Like 10 to 12 years, something like that. And like starting out in the late 2000s, like, you know, learning riffs from Zeppelin, like the one before, was literally my way of getting into improvisation and jamming. Right? Because back in school I played in many bands, and none of these bands did last for, you know, a long time. But something that everyone could do when you walk in the room is, you know, I know that riff. If you just started out playing an instrument and you didn't know that riff before, it was an easy thing to teach it in like 5 minutes or something. And you know, like playing these riffs, these easy but so tasty and, you know, like awesome riffs, was literally the way that I start most of my bands. Like just one of these riffs, and then we can jam along, and you know. So I totally know. I totally get what you mean.
Yeah, it's just those songs you want to hear. Over here in the UK, we had a show called Top of the Pops. You probably heard of it. Like most people have heard of Top of the Pops. And what was really cool about that was that Whole Lot of Love was the theme tune for it. Okay. So even if you, like, growing up, I didn't know what the hell a Led Zeppelin was, right? But I knew that song. Yeah, 100%. I knew that song. It's just, you know, you had no choice.
And still today, like a couple of weeks or months ago, I saw a trailer. It was either of something like a Call of Duty video game or an action movie trailer, and there was like, I don't know which song it was, but it was a Zeppelin song, and it like hit the energetic and aggressive mood of the trailer so good, and it's so impressive that a band that, I don't know, had its best times like 40 years ago still has produced music that can still work today. It's such an amazing thing.
I bet it was something like the Immigrant Song. That's used in so much.
I think
yeah.
Like the octave thing,
yeah, F sharp, I think. What is that? What you did it in?
Yeah. Let's not do that for reasons of humanity.
Yeah, I don't think anyone deserves to hear me trying to do a Robert Plant impression. So it's just you just watch the viewers dive.
Oh man. Joe Perry, that was the guy from Aerosmith, right?
Yes, Joe Perry is from Aerosmith.
That was like this, Walk This Way, or what is it called?
Yeah, Walk This Way. Can you turn your mic up, because you've moved back away from your mic from when I set them earlier, and I've put it up a little bit now.
Oh, I can just move my mic back.
Thank you.
I wonder if I could stick it to my beard.
Spit guard much. One of the guys watching, Alex Lorenzana, is one of the admin at Pedalboards of Doom. I want to say hi to you and thanks for the shout out about the mic. How you doing, man? So,
All right.
what single cuts have we got there? Do you want me to shout about one of my other single cuts I've got here?
Yeah, do that. And in the meanwhile, I will switch guitars so that I can show our viewers what other guitars we have here.
So, I've not been bringing things in and out of the house, and I was going to bring one of my Les Pauls in from indoors, which is a Bernese Les Paul, which was made by Fernandez. It's got a sustainer in it and everything, but it's a I'll try and find a picture of it in a bit. But what we've got is it's a Japanese-made Les Paul style guitar, and it doesn't, it's not just a single cut solid body. It is made to look like a Les Paul. It doesn't hide it at all. A little bit naughty, I think, but it was what I could afford at the time, and oh my god, it's amazing. It is so good. Everyone who's played it absolutely loves it. I used to go to like nights, jam nights, and these sort of things every night, and people were like, "Let's have a go at that." Everyone wants to use that. It's just an amazing guitar. Rosewood fretboard, which I don't tend to go down the route of rosewood fretboard. I usually go for ebony or maple. But that I love it. I really do. It's a beautiful, beautiful guitar. So if anyone ever looks at a Bernese Les Paul, particularly with the sustainer pickup in it, highly recommend them. Wonderful, wonderful guitars.
Never heard of Bernie.
You know, you heard of Fernandez?
I don't have a Fernandez.
So when
I had a guitar teacher who was endorsed by Fernandez way back.
What?
He always said it were nice guitars.
What was the name of the band that Slash played in with the guy from Stone Temple Pilots?
That was Velvet Revolver.
Yeah, the other guitarist in there was endorsed by Fernandez.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a bit of a tenuous link, isn't it? But it's there.
So it means that the Fernandez guitar has seen a stage with Slash, which immediately makes it cooler.
Oh, they're really good guitars. Really, really good guitars, man.
I believe you, but I think they have also many different shapes, right? Not only LP style shapes, but
yeah, they got some peculiar looking. I say peculiar, just not standard. It's they've got other shapes that aren't a Les Paul or a Strat.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So
that is beautiful.
I have in my hands here.
I've played a few B&G guitars, and they're unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
Just touching this guitar feels so crazy. It's such a prestige object, if you know what I mean. Like, it's crazy. I mean, and I want to make this clear. B&G guitars. I mean, as you can see, there are parallels compared to the original Les Paul, but I think they are so much more than that at the same time, because these guitars are built with such an amazing craftsmanship that it's unbelievable to hold one of these in your hands, really. And that these words are coming from an Ibanez endorser that's playing metal all the time. I don't know if there's literally anything that how I could make this instrument sound as it's supposed to sound, but just generally as a guitar player, touching this guitar is such an honor. You know what I mean?
I do.
Me happy.
I really do. Do you know what? there's a bit of a background to the B&G coming out with that. What you have is they started off without the cutaway, so it was because they're slightly smaller bodies than the Les Paul, aren't they?
Yes.
And what you'll
let me I don't know if you can see it that well.
Let me just throw you up on stage, or throw you up.
Yes. Like if I put it to the same stand, you can see that it's a little smaller. I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it's the whole radius and everything is a little smaller. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. It's really amazing, and like the thing that surprised me most about these guitars is why they look so classic and so vintage like. They still like are pretty modern guitars because it's combining so many design features of so many different guitars that are all based around that shape, but in the end it's just a very unique guitar. And it just feels amazing, like something that we can't replace is the feeling to hold one of these guitars in your hands. We can show you how it sounds though, so we should do that. So let me go through a couple of channels. What I got here. Yeah. Ah, you know, I, I, just Les Pauls are amazing guitars, but Fender Strats are amazing guitars as well. It's just that they are very different guitars. That's how I would sum it up. I don't think that one is better than the other one. I just think that it's just a little different. But anyway, I was about to hit the clean channel. So on the clean channel, it's sounding way creamy. Like this feels like a milkshake or something. It's so creamy.
Yeah, they were wonderful. I need to get my hands on a single cord, a P90 guitar. I really do. I still don't have one, and I really need a P90 guitar.
Oh, go for it. I know a cool brand called B&G.
Yeah.
So you were talking about like basic power chord stuff, right?
Yeah, there's no sound on this earth like a P90 guitar playing a power chord. It is just that raspiness with the breakup of an amp. Just, oh my god, it's just nothing like it.
It's way fun to play.
Yeah,
basic riffs with the guitar, amazing.
Ignazio just asked, is that a stepsister loaded with P90s or kickbuckers? It's P90s, mate. It's beautiful P90s. I think we should play a game. I think we should turn your camera off. So we'll put it onto just my camera so people can just look at my sexy body. And you should play the same 3 chords on P90s and humbuckers and see if people can tell which is the humbuckers and which is the P90s. Don't touch anything yet. Let me transfer so it's just on me. Right. Okay.
I will prepare my end.
People can't see you now. They can just see me. Sporting my Tonepedia founding team. I wasn't on the founding team, but the person I stole this from was. Right. I can see you, right, but other people can't. Right. Okay. So just play a riff. Yep. Go on then. Okay, people. Let us know. I'll let you know when he changes guitar, and you tell us whether the first one was P90s or the second one was P90s.
Guitar run. I'm stealing riffs from our other guitar player. That is way better at blues and rock than I am. And he's called Michael Wartner, and he's an amazing guitar player.
Oh, he's wicked, isn't he? He really is awesome.
It's literally every time we are jamming together, I'm very confident because I'm like, hey, yeah, I can sweep and I can shred. And then he's playing like 3 notes, and he totally is nailing it. And he can say so much with just...
Right, come on, because people are going to forget the other tone.
Yes. All right. So here we go. Can everyone hear me tuning right now?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got a little bit distracted because I was looking at the other screen and we've got subtitles. I don't know how we've managed that.
Amazing.
I was like, what's that writing at the bottom? Hang on a minute. We just said that. Right, okay then, people. First one or second one? Which one was the P90 guitar? Was it the first guitar you heard or the second guitar you heard? Right, do you want to swap over and pick up another guitar now so no one can tell?
Yeah.
It might give it away a little bit.
Maybe I will stick to the same guitar.
No, yeah, pick that one up.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can. Hey.
Did he stick to the same guitar or didn't he? This is the question. Ooh, mystery.
Am I back on camera?
You are. So whoever guesses it wins that guitar.
You should call the guy from B&G first.
Yeah, that was a joke, just in case you were wondering. That was a joke.
Make sure that you have a good lawyer, Lee. So, something that I want to investigate is if a guitar loaded with P90 pickups, if it can do high gain, if it can handle my JCM 800 hot-rodded stylish tube screamery lead channel. So let's see. Well, can you hear that immediately?
No, actually, no. I think we've got some good noise gating going on.
Ah,
okay.
That is sounding. It's sounding. What is sounding?
It's like sounding and outstanding. So it's like outstanding.
I want to say that is sounding tight. That is sounding so tight. But I was saying it is sounding side. I don't know, but I'm surprised. Is that good sound?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think that's enough of that. But I tell you what, that would sound really good if you did that and then double tracked it with a Telecaster.
Okay, now we're getting into
Yeah.
experimental territory.
Absolutely. No, that would sound absolutely bang on if you did it like that, because you've got the highs and the lows and the real raspiness there, but you'll really cut through with the telly. A lot of metal guys are starting to use tellies now because they're realizing the output of them is really high. Well, not on all of them, but many decent tellies have a lot of quite high output.
Ibanez has some with like humbuckers in it, and also like Fender has the Jim Root series.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. He's a big collector of guitars, isn't he?
Slipknot is not my cup of tea. But maybe he is. Probably he is. I mean, he's a guitar player. Is there literally any guitar player who's not a collector of gear? Don't know. But amazing. So let's. Can I play a couple of like soloish lead style tones?
I'd like to just jump in before you, if that's okay. What we've got is, we didn't tell people that we're going live across multiple channels, so we're live on 5 or 6 different places at the moment. So if you hear us talking about someone else in the comments and you can't see them, that'll be why. They're on a different format or a different page or group or what have you. Majority of people getting it right though, mate. Majority of people guessed that the first one was the P90s. So well done to you all. It was.
We will buy every one of you one of these guitars.
Yes, Emmanuel will buy all of you one of those guitars.
I'm a poor musician. I can afford one of these by myself.
You and me both.
B&G, just a little info at the side. B&G has 2 different series of guitars, if I'm not mistaken. One of them is a custom made and handmade series that is made in Israel. Yep. And these are these are amazing guitars. It's as I said, you touch them and you feel like you touch the Holy Grail or something. And then they have another series which is made in China. I think it's China, but they still have very high quality materials that they're using. I think even on some guitars it's like this, it's exactly the same pickups and stuff. The only difference is the place and the way that they're made. Is that right?
I don't think it's Indonesia, I believe, as opposed to China. But it might be China, actually. I do seem to remember.
Made in China.
You're right. But you would be very hard pressed to tell the difference. I've played both of them side by side, and the Chinese ones. When I first played a Chinese one, I was sat there playing. It was the first one I ever played. And I sat there messing around with it, and I was like, this is amazing. And then it was Hajo's own guitar. Hajo is one of the guys from Tonepedia founding team. This is actually his top. And he said, that's a Chinese one. And I couldn't believe it. I was absolutely blown away.
This one is Chinese. I mean, I talked about this guitar like it would be, the guitar of the guitars. It's Chinese. I can't believe it. How do they do it? Like,
it's not like it's a cheap, nasty, like £50 guitar though. It's a decent guitar. It's made by good luthiers over there. It's not made by just any old Tom, Dick, or Harry.
It's probably made by some kung fu masters and some,
You are being racist now.
I'm not. I did kung fu myself, but it's probably made by like some masters that have, like, studied the art of making guitars for last 1,000 years or something. Because these guitars are amazing. So
we do just let the audience know, we do know guitars haven't been around for 1,000 years.
Well, lutes and stuff like that have been, I guess. So we were about to hit some like solo lead tones with a guitar, right?
Go for it, man.
So let me first start with that medium gain. made for that type of play. Let me go to another channel with a little more gain. That is crazy.
Yeah, you can imagine turning up to a metal gig and playing one of them. You look at them thinking, hang on a minute, they turned up at the wrong gig. And then they kick out like that. Let's if I talk about one of my other single cut guitars, do you want to get the other B&G ready, the one with the humbuckers?
Yes, thank you. That is what I'm about to do.
Groovy, baby, groovy. So, for those of you who may be somewhat eagle-eyed, you can probably see this. Now, this is not like many of the other ones that we've got, but this is still a single cut guitar, and this is a Gretsch Elektra Matic. This is one of the cheaper ones, and my goodness, this is a wonderful guitar. Got the old Bigsby on it as well. And yeah, I would urge anyone who's thinking about getting a Gretsch to go down these routes. I'm not going to plug it in and play it because I haven't got it set up in a minute. But the you know, it's really, really lovely action on here. It's pretty damn low, actually, lower than I would normally have. In fact, I think it's ever so slightly lower than my Les Paul, and I've only recently set that up again to be lower action. So yeah, access on these sort of hollow bodies, then, you know, it's not really about playing like Emmanuel can and like shredding all these. This is a blues and a jazz guitar. You know, you're going to get your all those sort of chords going out with you. But yeah, we've got these now. Most of these guitars you're seeing today, other than my limited edition Les Paul, are on Tonepedia. And I just want to show you that just before Manuel.
I just looked it up right in a second. We have two Gretsch guitars on Tonepedia. We obviously have a very good choice of B&G guitars. So if you're like into B&G guitars in general, you should check it out. And we also obviously have exactly this guitar on Tonepedia as well. That's the one from the office. All these guitars are from our studio here in Bremen, and I stole them in the morning. I will not give them back because they are awesome.
You're not getting those back. So if I chuck up this in 2 seconds, what I'm going to do is.
I don't know where I'm living yet. He hasn't been at my place. So you know. While you're searching for that, let me just play some open chords with a clean channel with this beautiful
sure thing, man.
Little Sister, which is probably not made in China. It doesn't say so on this guitar.
Is it a Crossroads or is it just a Little Sister? Because the Crossroads are the Asian made ones, and everything else isn't.
I don't know how to identify the different guitars from B&G, but on the other one it says made in China. On this it doesn't say made in China. Anyway, it's a lovely instrument. So let me play.
Go ahead, man. Wow.
It's
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
there was no album, like literally no album that I've ever recorded in my professional career where I have ever used a humbucker clean sound. Like there was literally no album. I always, if I'm in the studio, I have a couple of Ibanez guitars and all of them coil split, like literally all of them. And first thing I do, if we don't have many clean passages, but we have some for the ballads and stuff like that. And I always used single coil sounds on there because it just felt right when I was playing clean. I'm also not the biggest like jazz player. I can't play all of these crazy chords, but you know what we have then is like as I played like open chords, a little more atmospheric stuff. And this is the first guitar I've ever touched where I say, okay, it's an unbelievable humbucker clean sound.
Do you know one of the reasons that's particularly extra special? That isn't just a run-of-the-mill build guitar. That's a private build.
Oh,
that's one of the custom-made ones. That I believe that is actually Elad's guitar, isn't it?
It might be that it's Elad's guitar.
Yeah. Because one of our friends just messaged us saying that's Elad's guitar. That's a private build guitar. I'm like, yeah, it is. Yeah. So yeah, what a absolutely beautiful guitar. Oh, wow, absolutely unbelievable. Truly amazing. Sometimes the quality of a guitar leaves you absolutely gobsmacked. So apparently wide space, when you've got wide space dots on the 12th fret, they're private builds, and the close space dots are crossroads.
Okay. Yes, there's a little difference.
We're gonna have to get Mr. who's given us the tips. We're gonna have to get him on the show one time because
who was it?
I think it'll be okay to say it was Ignacio from Jensen. I've sat down with this man over dinner when we all went out for dinner once, and my God, what a fascinating man. He could talk to you about speakers all day and you will not get bored. It was absolutely fascinating.
Hopefully we can make like a setup where we can actually bring a cab in here and mic it up for a stream. Maybe that will be possible.
Yeah, let's do that, man. Let's do that. Okay, let's let me just check the comments quickly, and then we can have a look at what we've got. How about Siri? Cool. How about series and parallel coil taps? We haven't got any of that on there. So we haven't got any of. I don't know. Do any of them have coil taps on them? Don't break, Kip.
Well,
just have a look through here.
I don't think that they have.
Right. Okay.
But actually, it sounded so lovely that I don't need a coil tap on this guitar. I don't want it to sound any different, like than it sounded when I just played it. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
While you're like going through the comments, let me just play some crunchy medium game type of stuff with this guitar. Okay.
I'm excited to hear this. Actually, can I just say it really sounds like we are absolutely kissing B&G's backside, and we are not. We are not invested in that guitar, in that company in any way, shape, or form. They're just really nice. I also love Gibsons as well, a lot, and Gretsch's. But this sounds beautiful. This really does. Go on.
I don't play LP guitars. Like, I don't know when the last time was that I touched my. I can show it in a minute. I have an Epiphone Les Paul that was a guitar that I played way back. I don't know when I touched it the last time. I'm a full Ibanez guy, you know, and it's still touching these guitars feels so special for a guy that is actually just playing metal.
Yeah, I'm just conscious. I don't want to sound like QVC. You know what I mean? I don't want to sound like a bloody shopping channel. And that does sound wonderful. It really does. Go on, let's hear this. Tear it up, man.
tune with one band. Whatever. I think it has like fresh strings on it.
I know for a fact that guitar does not get played like that normally.
Sorry, mate. I need to. I mean, it's picking up the distortion. Amazing.
Do you...
Holes in it. I mean, God, that is. I'm blown away.
Oh, dear.
Style playing that I'm usually doing, and I'm amazed that it's actually possible with a guitar that looks like.
I heard what you nearly said. Is this you effing kidding me? It's brilliant. It's do you know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like a guitar that's gone through like some really good producer and all these sort of things to get it on an album, and they'll do a lot of work to make a guitar sound like that, and it already sounds that good. Do you know what I mean?
It's amazing, and the thing is, like, every time I literally play something like Les Paul or also Fender guitars, I'm not comfortable with the necks, because for me the best neck shape ever is the Ibanez Wizard shape, and it's pretty thin. It's pretty thin still around, and most of the LP style guitars that I touch, they have like a fat neck, and you know, even like the thinner D profiles, I don't really like them. This neck actually has it's you have something in your hand. It feels like a neck. It doesn't feel like a toy. You know what I mean? Like there are some guitars out there that have necks that are like this, and it's not joyful at all. But this, for an LP and for like this traditional shape, it still has a neck that is very comfortable to play, but at the same time you like feel that it has a little grit to it, you know.
That was my experience with them as well. You know, you're holding something, but you're also not holding like a baseball bat, it wasn't like trying to get. And I like guitars with big necks. I want like a 52 Tele, but I just don't. When I pick that up, you know, you expect it to be a much chunkier entity, let's say. I wonder if that's done partially for the balance, because obviously it's like a hollow body, so you don't want it tipping up and these sort of things. So I wonder if it's done for the balance, that the necks. Yeah,
that's the thing. This guitar is so light.
Yeah, I know, it shouldn't sound like it does, should it?
I mean, like, the thing is, the neck is heavier than the body, kind of.
Buddy.
I can also say body, like the German way. But it's weird that the guitar that is literally that light can sound that fat.
Yeah, man.
To be alive. What a time to be alive.
So let's show people. If you want to mess around with these guitars and hear them yourselves, the 3 guitars that you can see in front of you that are with Emmanuel are on. Here, let me just do something here just to make this look good.
Do your magic.
And boom. So if you could just stop playing for a second, because I was just about to show people what we're doing on here. So this is...
It's all live.
This is our website, and on here you can see, if you go down to electric guitars, you can actually choose like to filter out certain things, and on here I've filtered body shape single cuts. So I decided to have a look on here to see what single cuts we've got on there, and one type of single cut we kind of didn't talk about specifically today was Telecasters, because we were focusing more on the sort of Les Paul style shapes, but it would have been nice to have a Tele on there. Because, yeah.
We will do it at some point.
Yeah, let's do that. So you've got these arias here. This here is one of my favourite looking B&Gs. This is the Crossroads. So this is one of their Chinese made. But what a beautiful! I think it's called Midnight Ocean. This black. It's absolutely wonderful. And as you go through, you've got the Bassett's, you've got D'Angelo. This Duesenberg here, this Star Player TV Mike Campbell one of the best looking guitars ever. It just looks amazing. It looks like if someone took an AC Cobra and made it into a guitar, that's what it would look like. This Les Paul here, I believe, is the Les Paul that Emmanuel has with him right this moment.
Is it the traditional one?
It is.
Then it probably is. This guitar, you can hear this guitar a lot on Tonepedia, like for many pedal demos and amp demos, all that stuff.
I'd say pretty much every pedal demo. In fact, it's great. As we go down, you've got some Godins, you've got a couple of Gretsches, bit like my own there, and another Gretsch here. And as you go through, we've got some others, and obviously you've got a PRS. And what I've done is I've loaded up a player here with four different single cut guitars. And what we're going to do at the end is we're going to post that into the comments so you can all have a go through and play with it. And all you've got to do is hit the play button or choose one of the guitars. And you can choose the amps, you can change the volume on the amps, the reverb, and you can change your playing style as well. So you can go through it and do it like that. So have fun with that, and we'll share that in the comments shortly. So I will transition back to Emmanuel.
Yeah, and people like generally that is what it is about in the end. What we're doing. So if you want to check out any gear, and that's like the thing. It's not like a random YouTube demo where you bump to whatever setting or whatever setup someone is using. The thing about Tonepedia is that it helps you to find your sound. So actually, what is it like to play this guitar, for example, with this pickup on that setting? That's what Tonepedia is about like, getting individual interactive demos for you guys. All right.
Yeah, man. That's what we do. What did you say, sorry?
What else do we got to cover?
Well,
through all the guitars, we had a couple of different sounds and playing styles. Is there anything else we could do for the world today?
No, I think we've covered a lot of it. We've covered hollow bodies. We've covered solid bodies. We've covered P90s. We've covered humbuckers. Yes, you can get single cutaways with single coils in it. Why you'd want to do that, I don't know. Oh, of course, tellies. What am I saying? No, tellies are exactly that, aren't they? But other than that, yeah, I think we've been quite comprehensive. What's your favourite Led Zeppelin song?
Mine.
Yeah.
I don't know any full song, other than the classic ones. Other like.
What of them? Which Led Zeppelin song? Dude, stop.
Yeah, I know that this was a forbidden riff, but
yeah, no, no, you're not allowed to play that. You were doing a.
That was a song that I first listened to when I was playing Minecraft. Could you imagine that? Like. But as I said, like Whole Lotta Love is for jamming with other people. That is perfect. And I also like that. I don't know how it's. Sometimes if I feel like I just drop the guitar to D and play some fakish Kashmir. No, but I really like those classics, basically, like, you know, Kashmir, Stairway to Heaven, Whole Lotta Love.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Led Zeppelin. It's a crowd pleaser, I know, but bloody hell, it sounds great. It really does. So, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who joined in today. It was lovely to have you all on here. You had quite a few comments on your own page as well, friends, and saying your playing was amazing and that sort of thing. And yeah, it's been a real pleasure to hear you play some of these lovely classic Zeppelin and Sweet Child of Mine, and with Guns N' Roses stuff and all that. It's been really cool. So
I know that I'm not the best guy to play these things because, as I said, metal all the time with me, but try to do my best. And I think sometimes it's interesting to have a metal guy or a guy that is not from a certain genre like play that genre, isn't it?
Yeah, can be. Yeah, it's been good, man. So I will say adieu from me, Lee.
And yeah, I will say, thank you everyone for tuning in, and goodbye from me, Emmanuel, as well.
Bye bye.
See you guys.